Oh, sheesh. What's up, you guys? Can you guys see and hear me? Huh? I can't tell if everyone can see and hear me yet. You know what? Let me grab my phone, see if I can see. Let me see if I can see and hear myself real quick. Because I'll tell you exactly why. I'll tell you exactly why this is happening in a sec. Oh, look at that. Because look at that, I'm live. All right. So raise your hand if you saw my video this morning that said, I think something along the lines of Nate Diaz is going to be a free agent in November, even if he doesn't fight. Anybody catch that? How that was not like the biggest story ever. When I saw that pop up, like I was recording a different video this morning, and I got an alert, and it was like, Nate Diaz is a free agent in November, whether he fights or not. And I was like, what? And then I went and looked it up, and I was like, holy shit, that's real. And I literally shut down the thing that I was, Misfit. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. I was, shut down the video that I was doing. And I immediately started filming that one because I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, that's like, because Nate clearly doesn't, because first of all, full disclosure, I had heard a rumor that he had that. I mean, I think I made that pretty clear in a couple other videos where I was like, I'd heard a rumor that Nate's, as a matter of fact, I had heard that his end date might have already passed. I had heard they were like, dude, I mean, this is not like coming. It was not coming. Like, I know people like Caesar and all that. That's not coming from them. Like, it's not people who would like for sure know, but it was people who like might know. And they're like, dude, I heard a rumor that his end date already passed. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, dude, but these guys don't fucking know, man. Like, they legit don't know. Like, they don't realize. Like, you guys don't understand like how little help some of these guys are getting, right? And then so when I heard that, and I'm like, dude, Nate's like going out on like a campaign, like, give me a fight, give me a fight, give me a fight. And he's got a November end date. All he has to do is just do nothing. Like, literally, all he has to do is just do nothing. And so here's exactly what happened. I mean, at least there's probably 1,000 things that also happened. Maybe. But here's what happened in my world was, just forget about my video. Someone publicly says, hey, Nate has an end date in November where if he doesn't even take a fight, he's a free agent. Okay, so I put the video up also, but whatever, regardless of that, I get on an airplane, okay, and then 4 hours later when I land, they've already announced that Nate and Khamzat are targeting UFC 280 or 279. And you're like, wait, what? They're like, yeah. We're targeting, Nate versus Khamzat for UFC 279. Because listen, like, if you're the UFC and you're strategizing on what you're, what you're trying to do or whatever, like, you're not just like these are the kinds of things that you're literally strategizing against all the time. Is like, do you think Nate really realizes that he could just sit there and not do anything? Do you know what I mean? It's like, do you think that do you think he realizes that if he doesn't take a fight, he's just a free agent in November? Probably not. And so as soon as the news comes out, right? As soon as it's public, where it's like, Nate has an end date in November, they're all, fuck me. And so then his manager, who also wants him to fight, okay, because apparently it was his, like, as a matter of fact, let me look that up. I think it was his manager. His manager is the one who announced it, because of course his manager wants him to fight now and later. Like, he's trying to maximize Nate's earnings. I don't think anybody's necessarily taking advantage of Nate. But the reason why the UFC is throttling it is because they're like, fuck, he's going to be a free agent anyway. Hang on. Nate versus. But anyway, the bottom line is, if you're telling me that it's a coincidence that the news came out, the news came out today that like he has an end date in November, and then 3 or 4 hours later, they're all, oh, by the way, we're booking Nate for UFC 280. Okay. I'm sure that's a coincidence. How is GSP still on the hook? So the contracts are different now. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know everyone's contract. And by the way, thank you for the super chat. So I don't know everyone's contract, right? What I do know is that one of the main problems that, like, like the class action lawsuit, this huge fucking class action lawsuit that these guys have against the UFC that no one really talks about because like no one really understands it. But like one of the main kind of beefs that they have is that the UFC would sign people to these contracts and they would have all these clauses in the contract that would essentially lock a guy in for life. Like so think about it like this. Okay. So like absent an end date, right? Like absent an end date on your contract. And if the UFC is like, okay, well, hey man, it's a 6-fight deal. And you're like, all right, great. 6 fights. And they're all, yeah, 6 fights. And then also if you go to the grocery store on a Thursday and you don't tell us, that adds a fight. And you're like, wait, what? You're all, I thought it was 6 fight. You're all, yeah. You didn't read section 104-822. Go to the grocery store on a Thursday. I don't understand. They're all right, fine. We could slash that one. Like it's not like stuff like that, but it's stuff like if they fight outside of the UFC, and these are still in these contracts. Like if anytime you see these guys do these out like external matches, it extends their contract. Okay. Like one of the main negotiating points that these guys like are haggling with the UFC about, or certain people are, is about extensions, where they're like, I don't want any fucking extensions on my contract. Like I'll take the fight, I'll take a 5-fight deal. I get paid XYZ, the end. But like, no, like, oh, if this, then I get extended for 6 months. If this, then I get extended for 6 months. Because they have all these ways of trapping guys. And when they didn't have an end date, they literally would trap them for life. Like there was no possible way to get out of these contracts. And so GSP, I know the one thing is that like, you can't get out of your contract by retiring. Like what they do with GSP, I actually don't think is wrong. I'm not saying any of this shit's wrong, to be honest. Like I don't have a problem with any of it. Like this is business. Like of course the UFC is going to try to negotiate the most favorable deal for UFC, and the fighters should be trying to negotiate the most favorable deal for the fighters. And if there is no better option in the market for the fighters, then they're not worth more money than what they're getting paid. That's why I keep saying, like, if Nate and Francis leave and they go make a shitload of money, all of a sudden these guys who are big stars are like, what the fuck? Oh, wait. So there's actual options for me to go make real money. And all of a sudden $2 million a fight doesn't look like very much money when you can make 10 times that. Or they've seen guys that they don't think are as big as stars or as good as them making 10 times that in a fight, So like, but like with GSP, like, Khabib, guys like that who retire with fights on their deal. Like basically you can't just like retire and you're like, all right, I guess they're out of their contract. If you retire, I believe with GSP, him being on the old deal, because I think these new deals started, as a matter of fact, I think that Francis might have signed one of the first deals that had a 5-year maximum on it. And, with that one coming up, like his is going to expire at the end of this year. I think that might be one of the first ones, which would make Nate's one of the first ones also, because they're expiring at the same time. But I'm pretty sure. And so, GSP's last fight was in 2017. And so he obviously was under contract, like a different contract then. And so I'm pretty sure that the retirement clause is 5 years. So like if you retire, it's like you have to literally sit out for 5 fucking years before your contract expires. Think about this, dude. Think about this shit. Without the end date on the contract, Nick Diaz got suspended for 5 fucking years. 5 years. And when he got off his for smoking weed, and when he got off of his suspension, he's still under contract with the UFC, getting paid like fucking whatever he was getting paid before. Now, I do know some details about that contract. I won't dive into them because like they were, kind of told to me in confidence, but like maybe he signed a new deal. I know what his old deal looked like. And it was like, UFC, it's not like the UFC fucked him or anything. It's just that like he got fucked by the board, the state board or whatever. And so prior to having end dates, he sits on his ass for 5 fucking years, right through, straight through when he would have been fighting. He comes back and he's getting paid what he would have been getting paid 5 years ago. And he's locked into a contract that, like, he has no way out of. And so that, that's like the main problem. That was like the main issue with like the, what do you call it? The, like I said, the class action one. You want to know? I'm going to tell you, Malcolm, like I said. So again, if people are just popping on, what I will, I mean, again, look, I can't, I was about to say I'll guarantee you, but here's what I would say. If I let's say I wasn't talking to 400 or 500 people and I was just talking to my buddies, I'd be all, hey, matter of fact, let's simulate that. Hey, dude, do you think that it's a coincidence that the news came out today that Nate Diaz has a November, his contract ends in November, whether he fights or not? And then all of a sudden now the UFC is announcing him versus Khamzat when they clearly, if you read the way that they're wording it, it's not signed, I don't think. That's what I was just looking up. Like, as a matter of fact, let's do it like this, since I got you guys on live. Hang on. Here. Share this with you guys. I almost used this for the thumbnail. Agree. See? Tricky fucking wording, dude. Tricky fucking wording. Agreed to. Okay? You know what agreed to doesn't mean? Official. This further solidifies my position that, like, this is reaction. Like, this is reaction to, the news comes out. It's all, oh, hey, Nate can just sit there and not do anything, and then he'll be a free agent in 4 months. And then 3 or 4 hours later, it's all Nate Diaz versus Khamzat for 279. And you're all, oh, wow. It's like, hey, don't start thinking about the fact that you could be a free agent without doing anything. Like, we're still negotiating. Because, like, I've seen this movie a billion times. Nobody pays attention closer to this stuff than I do. And it's like, Derek Lewis and Cyril Gane are fighting. It's like, John Jones agrees to fight Stipe. And you're like, oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Well, or I'm sorry, it was the other way. It was Stipe agrees to fight John Jones. You're like, all right, well, did John Jones agree to fight Stipe? Like, that doesn't even mean anything. That's just, you're just playing with the fucking media. So Nate Diaz or Khamzat Chimaev being agreed to for 279. Oh, yep. And Hunter announced the news. He's the one who negotiates the contracts. Fuck me. I just got super nervous because now he might watch this. But, yeah, I mean, again, my guess, this is in reaction to that news. Straight up. Because they really don't want to get into a situation where Nate just sits back and becomes a free agent. You want to know what else? I don't think that it's impossible that Nate has every intention of coming back to the UFC and fighting Conor. This whole thing might be if he's listen, if Nate is really fucking smart, if Nate's really, really smart, this whole thing could be a ploy to negotiate a really massive deal for the Conor fight. Because if he's an actual free agent, right? Hang on, let me finish. I'm going to finish that because I'm going to go down a whole rabbit hole over there. F-Boy's back. Dana wants to send Nate out in a body bag, but I would not be shocked if Nate catches an aggressive Khamzat. F-Boy, thank you very much, sir. I mean, that would be like one of the most epic. That would be insane, man. Spiteful and pathetic. This is how they reward 15 years of entertainment, not so subtly trying to feed him to the wolves. Of course, Nate is willing to fight the hired goon. Sincerely hope by some miracle he blows up in their face. And it would if he won. Hope Nate and Leon both win and ruin everyone's plans. See, that's one thing right there. Whoops. is if Leon wins, that doesn't ruin anyone's plans because that gives them the excuse to have Masvidal fight for the title. See, everybody's thinking the same thing. There's only one reason to have Nate fight Khamzat, and it's like feed him to the wolf. And oh my God, look at every person is like, what? I'm going to handle Nate Diaz's funeral with the UFC. Will Nate go on a blaze of glory? Nate Diaz is not taking this fight, dudes. Okay? Nate Diaz has not taken this fight. Agreed to does not mean booked. Okay? Maybe they'll end up booking it. Okay? But especially right there, he's the ultimate strategist, dude. And I mean that as a compliment. But like he's playing strategy, dude. That's not, I mean, like for that new, but the thing about like, oh shit, Nate has he's an attorney. He is like, he's the guy who negotiates all their stuff. Hunter Kimball negotiates all their shit, all of it. Okay. All of it. Now Dana could come in and just go, fuck it, give him this deal and they'll do it. But if you want to negotiate with the UFC, you're fucking talking to Hunter 100%. That I know for a fact. No, I'm in a hotel room, dude. But, and so Hunter, being an attorney that you negotiate with all the time, if that end date does supersede everything else, like I said it did in my video, where basically if Nate just sits on his hands until November, he becomes a free agent, then he saw that information came out. Like I didn't break that story. I did a video about it. Someone else broke the shit. And I was like, oh my God, I just understand how all this shit works. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh shit. He has a fucking end date on his contract now that he could just sit back on. And then so Hunter being the one who released that story, that really, really supports my theory that this is like, he's like, oh, fuck. He's like, get this out. We got to get this fucking fight signed. This is an excellent question. So I don't know. I kind of think that Nate is negotiating for the Conor fight. I really do. I think it's or at the very least, like Nate's he can go fight Jake Paul, then he can come back and fight Conor. Like he said that, and you know what the other thing is? Nate said like the thing I actually forgot to bring this up in my video, which is really fucking embarrassing. It's a pretty important point. Nate said that the UFC just keeps on offering him more money and more money and more money, and it's not about money. I'm like, it's not about, I mean, it might not be about money. Like he wants to have the freedom to do what he's going to do, but it's always about money. Like it's always about money, right? Maybe actually, I don't know. Who knows, dude? Maybe he really does just want to go do the Jake Paul fight. Fuck the money. But, man, Hunter being the one that leaked that put that out there. That is, again, he's got a playbook that I just recognize his playbook now. I just, John Jones. Hey, John. Hey, John Jones. John. Stipe has agreed to fight John Jones. What? Okay. Like, you guys go through, just do this. Go Google John Jones agreed to fight and just fucking look at those. Like, look at it. If you really want to do some really like forensic research, go look at things like that. Like every time, like agreed to, like, if you look up that phrase agreed to fight, and then go look at what was going on in the background. Like this is strategy, like this is strategy about half the time. Like they just press release it because it's like they've got some other thing kind of like in the heavyweight division going on. Like the thing about like John Jones and Francis, or John Jones and Stipe agree to fight that was when they were negotiating with Francis. They're doing an interim fight between Gon and Derek Lewis because they knew they had no leverage to negotiate with Francis, and Francis is supposed to fight. Francis has one fight left on his deal. They do an interim fight right after he knocked out Stipe, and he's like, what the fuck? Why are you guys doing an interim fight? Then they start doing all this stuff in the press, same type of shit. I think I missed a super chat. Let me scroll up. Hang on. Lazy, thank you very much, sir. Well, this is really exciting, you guys, for more reasons than one. You guys may have noticed I haven't been live very much lately. And the reason was because I knew they were suppressing my live streams, and it was infuriating, dude. Like, I can't, infuriating. And they took the guardrails off my channel finally, because I complained. Like, I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, I went from, why are my live streams getting 70% less views? Explain that to me. How is that? Why is every single thing that I'm doing down 70% this month? Like, what happened exactly? And they're like, oh, let us look into it. The next day, everything just goes completely back to normal. So, anywho. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, dude. That's pretty much it. They're saying it's going to headline. They're saying it's going to headline too. No title fight. Or, I mean, maybe they'll have like a co-main or something. But, yeah. But, I mean, listen. It is a nightmare matchup for Nate. A fucking nightmare for Nate. A nightmare. A nightmare for Nate. That's exactly right. You know what? I went back and sourced. I don't want to get into it too much, but I know exactly what happened. I know exactly when it started. I went through my analytics. I figured it all out. I'm not even going to get into it. But they fixed it. So, and now I know I can just go to fucking YouTube and be like, bro, whatever your fucking algorithm's doing, like, you got me somewhere I shouldn't be. And they fixed it. Anyway, so like, I've got a video coming out shortly though, like that I shot last night about which is a bigger fight. Like, okay, so which sells more pay-per-views? You guys can put some thought to this, dude, and then watch the video later. Which is a bigger fight? Because I filmed it last night, and then Bisping posted. Well, what I actually did was I was like, okay, so which is a bigger fight? Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz, or Nate Diaz versus Conor? And then on the other side, which is a bigger fight? Nate Diaz versus Conor, or Conor versus Jake Paul? You know, so like I put anyway. And then I had it like banked because I knew I was going to be on the road this week. And then this morning, fucking Bisping uploaded all, which is a bigger fight, Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz, or Nate Diaz versus Conor? I was like, are you fucking serious? But nonetheless, the video I really did that's way more interesting, I think, is the Conor one. Whereas, like, is Conor versus Nate or Conor versus Jake a bigger fight? Because the more you think about it, the less confident I was. Where I was like, fuck, man, like, I don't know, dude. So I just started to think about like what groups of people were going to buy each event. Because like at first glance, I'm like, oh my God, if Jake Paul fought Conor, that would be one of the biggest fights ever. And then I like really thought about it. I'm like, is it actually bigger though than Nate versus Jake? I'm sorry, Nate versus Conor. Anyway, whatever. I did a fucking entire video about it that I'll upload later. But Bisping wasn't stealing my ideas. So we just fucking did the same video. It was total fucking happenstance. There is a big video. There's a big channel that is definitely taking some of my ideas and then just reformatting them. But he can take anything he wants from me, dude. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Here's the last thing I'll say, and I'm going to sign off though. If Nate beats, okay, so the odds of Nate beating Khamzat's opening at, first of all, I'm not even saying that this fight's even going to happen because this is not official. This is publicity games. Matter of fact, you know what, dude? That might have gotten released specifically so that no one sees my video or the videos that are talking about Nate's fucking November end date. Now that I thought about it, that actually might specifically be about people not looking at those stories. The people who started talking about that, very, very simple. Just like if they search for Nate Diaz contract, they search for Nate whatever, they're going to see Nate versus Khamzat today. That's fucking clever and smart. Controlling narratives and controlling, media cycles. Something that's pretty easy to recognize if you have a trained eye, but it works. It works every time if you do it well. But anyway, so let's just pretend it does happen, though. Let's just pretend that it happens. So if this fight does happen, the odds of Nate beating Khamzat are very, very small. However, in the event that Nate beat Khamzat, it would be the biggest backfire ever. 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 Ever, ever, ever. But anyway, that's what I got. That is what I got. Dude, it's easy to make me notice. It just costs money, dude. Just costs money, dude. If you want to talk to me on my live streams, I notice everybody that does a super chat. But you're out of time. So I love you guys. I might be on later. Peace.